Hello everyone and welcome to AWS Innovate online conference. My name is Uni Pillai and I'm a solution architect in Amazon Web Services based out of Singapore. My job as a solution architect, I get an opportunity to meet a lot of customers and learn how they are using AWS Cloud Platform to solve business and technology problems. My aim today will be to share some of those learnings with you. My Twitter handle is up there on your screen, so if you want to connect with me, feel free to add me to your Twitter network and I'll be more than happy to connect with you. Now in this session, I'll walk you through exploring digital media on AWS. By the end of this presentation, you'll have a basic understanding of various steps of creating media processing and delivery platform on AWS. We'll also briefly touch on how you can architect applications on AWS using no servers at all. That's right. We're going to talk about one of the coolest tech buzzwords out there, serverless. But before we take a look at the reference architecture, let's go through what are some of the common business and technology challenges that media companies are facing and how AWS can help you solve them. Your customers are being exposed to new type of content on a day-to-day basis, whether that's HD, 3D TV, or more recently 4K. And this consumption change is being driven by different types of devices out there, like television, tablets, mobile, even virtual reality headset. Over the last decade, the delivery methods have also changed from cable to satellite and now to the internet. In order to address these changes, customer demands, media and entertainment companies are being forced to rethink the way they run their business to become more agile and more scalable and more cost-effective. And this in turn means that they need to start thinking about these 6 challenges. How do I keep up with the cost pressures? Should I invest in a new data center or not? How can I turn around requirements and deliver content that the market demands? How do I cope with spikes in user demands? Should I buy more servers or make them sit idle? Or should I lose the opportunity of serving those customers? How do I build services that have an edge over competitors? How should I launch my business in global markets? Should I set up data centers in other markets to serve those requests? And what should I focus on? My core competency as a media company, or should I be focusing on running IT infrastructure? And to fix these challenges, you need to run cost-effective technology and business operations, accelerate production and delivery timeframes, while thinking about a global execution strategy. Last, and the most important one, maximizing the returns of investment in both capital equipment as well as human resources. In short, you should be spending your time and money and resources on things that differentiates your company from your competitors. AWS as a cloud service provider gives media and entertainment providers the power to quickly, easily, and economically deploy, scale workloads, focus on what matters most for their business. This is transforming ideas and compelling content that captivates viewers. Let's take a look at what a typical media processing pipeline looks like on AWS. Ingest. This is where you move or bring over the content to the cloud. Storage. This is the phase where you store the content once it's ingested. Next is process. This is the phase where you process, transform, and prepare the content to be delivered to your consumers. Then comes the final step of your pipeline, that is deliver. This is the phase where you deliver the content to the users, collect feedback, and generate revenue. And now let's take a look at how you can use AWS products and services to work to solve the problems that we have in hand. We have the content on the right-hand side and users on the left-hand side. Now we need to pass through all the 4 phases of the pipeline, that is ingest, store, process, and deliver. Let's take a look at what are the ways you can ingest content into AWS. AWS as a service provider gives you the services that you need to move file-based and video content to the cloud quickly, easily, and with the security that your company requires. AWS Elemental Live. Elemental Live enables high quality and optimal bandwidth ingest for the cloud and for your broadcast facilities via multiple encoding standards, color sampling techniques, and resiliency mechanisms. AWS Snowball. Snowball is a petabyte scale data transportation solution that uses secure appliances to transfer video content libraries into and out of AWS Cloud. S3 Transfer Acceleration. S3 Transfer Acceleration makes internet transfers to AWS S3 or Simple Storage Service faster by maximizing available bandwidth, allowing the transfer of video content to the cloud more securely. AWS Direct Connect. AWS Direct Connect enables video content to be transmitted or transferred from your premise to AWS over a reliable, dedicated connection enabling all video workflows, including 24/7 workflows and file-based transcoding running on AWS. Now let's go back to our reference architecture and see how one of these services can be put in use to ingest the content that we want to. Here we are ingesting the content using S3 APIs over the internet. Other than the API, you can also use AWS command line interface, also called AWS CLI, to get access to the AWS services. You can also use AWS SDKs to access AWS services programmatically. SDKs are available in 12 languages and platforms. You're likely to find an SDK in the language of your choice. Let's take a look at what are the ways you can store content on AWS. AWS Cloud provides you with multiple options for storing media content on the cloud, with reliability and scalability to support both the archival and on-demand delivery of your requirements. AWS Simple Storage Service. S3 offers tiered object store classes with multiple options for frequent and fast data transfer. This gives media and entertainment companies ultimate flexibility to migrate media assets to the cloud. Amazon Glacier. Glacier is a long-term storage offering which lets you archive media, data securely on the cloud, and maintain an inventory of assets at a reduced cost. With Glacier, you can retain data for months, years, or even decades without the overhead of managing the underlying storage infrastructure. DynamoDB. DynamoDB is a fast and flexible NoSQL database service, which is ideal for indexing video catalogs such as news and sports highlights that depends on low latency access from many viewers. Now that you have seen different ways to store content in AWS, let's go back to our reference architecture and store the content that we had previously ingested. Once the content has been ingested using API from S3, it will be stored in an S3 bucket. For cost management, you can set a lifecycle policy for this content, which will push the file to a colder storage class, such as S3 infrequent access after 30 days. That same content after 180 days can be pushed to Glacier, which is the cheapest storage option available in the cloud. Now that we have stored the content in S3, let's take a look at what are the different ways to process the content in AWS. AWS provides you with a suite of services that you can put at work for preparing and processing media content for delivery. Amazon Elastic Transcoder. Elastic Transcoder is a highly scalable, easy to use, and cost-effective way to convert media files from source formats to formats that will play back on internet-connected devices. AWS Lambda. With Lambda, you can run code without provisioning or managing any servers at all. AWS Lambda is ideal for managing triggered transcoding workflows through S3 and DynamoDB integration. AWS Elemental Media Processing Products. Elemental offers media processing platform as a service, which is built on AWS Cloud infrastructure. It enables video providers to deploy rapidly multi-screen offerings for live and on-demand content. Now let's go back to our reference architecture and look at how to process and convert the media that we have previously ingested in S3. Now that our data has arrived in S3, let's take a look at how we can process it. We can configure the S3 bucket to trigger a notification to invoke a Lambda function that will start a transcoding job with Elastic Transcoder. Once the transcoding job is complete, Lambda will update DynamoDB with the indexing and other metadata related information. You can also use services like Amazon Cloud Search to catalog your content. So far, we have ingested, stored, and processed and cataloged the content in AWS. Now let's take a look at the final step of our pipeline, delivery. This is the phase which has a direct impact on how your customers consume your services. And that brings us to Amazon CloudFront. It is a global content delivery network or CDN service that cost-effectively accelerates delivery of live and on-demand video content to internet-connected devices. With AWS, you can take advantage of the flexibility of the cloud to offer revenue-generating opportunities from services such as time-shifted TV to dynamic ad insertions as well. AWS Elemental Data. Delta is a service that helps you optimize and monetize the management and of multi-screen video across IP networks. AWS API Gateway. This is a managed API gateway service that automatically distributes incoming data across processing backends and AWS for optimal application performance. Now let's go back to our reference architecture and look at how we can deliver this content to the users. On the customer side, they'll be accessing the services using devices of their choice. This will be front-ended by an API layer, which is managed on Amazon API Gateway, and backend logic for this is running on AWS Lambda. The delivery of media files will be done using global network of Amazon CloudFront CDN. I'll give you a good 10 seconds to take a look at the architecture diagram. Now, if you notice this architecture closely, you will realize that we have not deployed any servers in this workflow. Every service we have here is a managed service. As a customer, you don't have to worry about installing, patching, maintenance of servers. Basically, it's a serverless architecture. What this means to you as a customer is you can focus on what differentiates your business rather than doing undifferentiated heavy lifting on technology infrastructure. While we are at the topic of serverless architecture, let us take a look at AWS managed services that you can put to use to build a serverless architecture. Compute and storage is just one part of the serverless architecture. In security space, you have services like AWS Identity and Access Management, that is AWS IAM, which enables you to securely control access to AWS services. Then you have Amazon Cognito, which lets you easily sign up users and let them sign into your mobile and web applications. In analytics space, you have services like Amazon Kinesis, which enables you to load and analyze streaming data. Then you have Amazon Athena, which is a serverless interactive query service that makes it easy to analyze big data in AWS using standard SQL. Think how cool it is. All these services we have up here on this slide are fully managed, and that means that you do not have to do any management of servers from your end. Amazon Web Services has been chosen as a cloud service provider by a wide range of digital media and entertainment companies. Our customers include companies from across the industry spectrum, from publishers to online media properties to major motion picture and production houses as well. For example, Pixnet, which is a Taiwan-based company that runs a social media network for photo galleries. Pixnet uses Amazon S3 for basic backup of log files and photos, and Amazon EC2 to process images using facial recognition software. By using AWS Pixnet, can bring the services to the market quickly and more cost effectively. Also, let's take a look at one of the customers from Southeast Asia who has revolutionized online digital entertainment for customers. Iflix is a company that is based out of Malaysia. They use AWS Cloud to deliver new customer experience over a broad range of devices. They have built new engagement models, deliver high-definition content, and generally reinvent digital media experience for the customers in Southeast Asia. They were able to reach the scale that they are today with the help of AWS managed services that they had built the platform with. AWS had helped them maintain an agile and lean development team. This means they can focus on building good content for the customers rather worrying about technology infrastructure. Another customer that I like to talk about is PlayOnSports. This is a real production architecture that they have deployed. In brief, their architecture allows end users that are streaming live video via laptop encoders up to S3 via HLS. And those chunks land in S3 bucket. A cascade of Lambda functions execute to transcode those video chunks into various formats and store them in separate S3 buckets. When viewers and users are able to stream the video content in near real time. This is a fully serverless architecture that would have required polling mechanisms or message queues managed by a set of processing servers before Lambda came into the picture. But now, not only does the compute happen on top of Lambda without the need of owning any servers, but the workflow is entirely event-driven and managed by Lambda. Let's go back to another customer example. A New York-based Hearst Corporation is one of the largest diversified communications companies in the world, with major interest in newspapers, magazines, and television shows. They send clickstream data containing content and audience information from over 250 digital properties with Amazon Kinesis to make real-time content recommendations to maximize audience engagement. If you remember at the start of this session, we spoke about these 6 challenges that media and entertainment companies are facing. Now it's time to take a look at how you can solve them. First is investing in content and less in infrastructure. AWS Cloud allows customers to trade capital expense for variable or operational expense, paying for technology infrastructure as they consume it. This enables them to focus more time and reallocate resources to their core business of content creation and enhance customer experience. For example, Condé Nast, which is a mass media company based out of US, has moved their primary data centers to AWS with most of their sensitive workloads and applications. They are saving close to 40% in terms of cost. Now that's a lot of money, and imagine how much you can innovate using that funds that you have in your pocket right now. Now that brings to my next point, innovating fast and not being bothered by IT constraints. Every company in the world has to keep transforming the customer experience and look at innovative ways to engage their customers. Clearly, entertainment companies and media companies are not an exception to this. In this highly competitive space, media companies need to innovate and iterate fast. Traditional technology infrastructure can be a big roadblock for this. But if you look at the cloud, you'll realize that it enables innovation and agility at a very significant way. In the old world, if you ask engineering teams how much time does it take for them to give you servers if you want to experiment, they'll tell you 10 to 18 weeks. But with AWS Cloud, you not only can the company spin up thousands of servers in a matter of minutes, but also pay for only what they use. This is amazing, isn't it? AWS Cloud accelerates innovation by eliminating lengthy procurement cycles with on-demand resources for developing, testing, and launching new services that deliver compelling content to your customers. Next is scaling effectively to meet spiky user requirements. In the past, media companies were used to over-provision their IT infrastructure to ensure they had enough capacity to handle the business operations at the peak level of activity. Now that AWS Cloud, you can provision the amount of capacity that you need without worrying about the spending unnecessary money that you don't need to spend. This also reduces cost that helps you improve the company's ability to meet the user's requirement without spending the money on dormant infrastructure. Next is creating content for global audience and your services globally. AWS enables customers to deploy their applications globally in minutes. AWS has a concept of regions, which is a physical location around the world where we have clusters of data center. We call each group of logical data center as an availability zone. As of today, customers can leverage 42 availability zones across 16 geographical regions worldwide. You can also leverage an Amazon CloudFront service that accelerates delivery of your websites APIs, and video content and other web assets through CDN caching. Hosting your application on AWS means you have the ability to more quickly on the other geographical locations and expand your business globally. If after today you are wanting to take your AWS knowledge to the next level, you have several options available for you. To gain more confidence and hands-on experience with AWS, watch your instructional videos and explore the self-paced labs. Additionally, you can attend our instructor-led trainings that are led by qualified AWS instructors and learn how to design, deploy, operate highly available, cost-effective, and secure applications on AWS. And finally, do not forget to validate your technical expertise with AWS certifications. I'd like to thank you for attending this session today and sticking it out until the very end of the presentation. Please take your time to provide the feedback on today's event so that we can improve the event experience for you in the future. I also want to wish you all the best in exploring the capabilities that AWS Cloud offers you to solve business and technical challenges that your business is facing. Thank you very much, and you have a great day ahead.